It's Tuesday, June 9th, so of course we're talking running back contracts. Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook. He wants to get paid. Everybody knows the PFF stance, but what is Dalvin Cook worth to that Vikings offense?
Yeah, I think considering who the quarterback is, there's no doubt. I think he brings a great deal of value to this football team. Of his 17 touchdowns in his career, 13 came last season. So really he's had one great year of production. But so for me, I think it's a short-term buy, but a long-term sale. As you know, the running backs, their value tends to decline the longer they stay in the league. He's entering his fourth season. I would sign him up for this fourth season. They were going to need him in 2020. I'm not so sure beyond that.
Yeah, he's smart, right? He's capitalizing on that one good year he had. Here's the problem, though. That one good year didn't even put him in the top 5 in terms of running backs in PFF wins above replacement. A large reason for that is he doesn't play enough. And the guys behind him, Alexander Mattison, Mike Boone, those guys can carry the rock. They can catch the ball, and that's what you need in that offense. I would not sign him to a long-term deal. I would not pay him anywhere near, obviously, Christian McCaffrey money or even in the Zeke Elliott range. They are not in great cap situation over there in Minnesota. So you need to spend that in places where it can help Kirk Cousins more than on a running back that's largely replaceable.
And no one loves Dalvin Cook more than me. I just think
this
he's
is
fantastic. I mean, I love Dalvin Cook. I think his speed is just next level. He reminds me of Fred Taylor. I think he can win in all ways. But I think, George, your point about him not being on the field enough, whether it's because of injuries or just the fact that he's not really that receiving mismatch weapon that, say, a Christian McCaffrey is, a guy that you're going to line up in the slot or out wide. So I think when healthy, when on the field, I think Dalvin's better than Zeke. I think he's better than Todd Gurley. I think he's better than all of those guys, but that's part of the risk of paying a running back. When they're not on the field, it's just not worth it. And when they are on the field, it's still probably not worth it. So I love Dalvin, but there's no way he's getting that second contract for me.
Zero running backs in the top 10 last year in salary played a snap and made the playoffs.
Yeah, most of those teams, when they show the running back the love, they end up having buyer's remorse. So
yes.
The Vikings need to be careful. All right, guys, which team is most improved based on the moves they've made this offseason?
I can't believe I'm going with a team that didn't add a quarterback, but that's how good the Arizona Cardinals offseason was. They had 2 huge needs that were of great value on the football field. They needed an outside wide receiver, and they got one of the few guys that you can actually say might be the best in the league in DeAndre Hopkins. Then in the draft, they go get Isaiah Simmons in the first round at 8. I could have seen him going top 5 easily. And then in the third round, they get a tackle, something they desperately needed in Josh Jones. I think he was top 15 on our big board, 14th if I remember correctly. An absolute home run. And in the process, they got rid of David Johnson's bloated contract. Smashing hit.
Love what the Cardinals did. I'm going to go with the team that added a quarterback, and it's the Indianapolis Colts. I think just going from Jacoby Brissett, who I think at this stage, 2 starting seasons where he's been below replacement level, he's a good backup. I think Brissett, fine with him as a backup, but the upgrade to Phillip Rivers and then Rivers going indoors in Indianapolis, I don't care if he was throwing wounded ducks last year. He will be back looking good behind maybe the best offensive line in all of the NFL. You throw in DeForest Buckner, just a nice little addition, but really it's Phillip Rivers that's driving the Colts offseason and makes them an actual contender in the AFC.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, I think, will move the needle, but certainly not more than Tom Brady is going to move the needle with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
True.
Certainly, there's no doubt. This is a team that goes from not even being able to talk about the playoffs over the last decade to now jumping right into the postseason. And then you give him Rob Gronkowski. Certainly he makes them better. But even when you consider just a couple of their draft picks, I think they did good with Tristan Wirfs at the left tackle position. And then on the back end, Antoine Winfield Jr. to go along with a couple of good corners who we're going to hear a lot about. Carlton Davis. We're going to hear a lot about Jamel Dean. The secondary is going to get much better. We know they can rush the quarterback, but I think Tampa is much improved this offseason.
You didn't even mention your guy. Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson, absolutely.
That's how deep they are.
That's right.
I mean, look, I will not stand for the Jameis Winston shade, but by all measures, all those teams got way better. Okay, we're going to close out with this. Aaron Rodgers did not make the PFF 50. Yes, that's the right decision, or no, he's a top 50 player next season.
Look, I was partially responsible for the list. I helped put it together. He was right on the cusp. And the quarterbacks that we were debating were Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers. And I think if you look at where their trajectories are going, Watson continues to get better. And Watson continues to get better in a situation that has not been great for the majority of his career in Houston. Now, with Rodgers, there was certainly a time. It's Rodgers, it's Brady, it's Breeze, it's Peyton. Those guys can elevate anybody that you put on their team, but Rodgers is not that guy anymore. He still has the special plays. 30 or 40 times a year, he reminds you that he's Aaron Rodgers, but it's the other 600 plays that matter, and he has just not been nearly as productive on those plays. Accuracy taking a nosedive, still takes too many sacks. Rodgers just outside the top 50. All players, all positions created equal. That is absolutely fair.
Yeah, I feel like I have to take a shower when I'm downgrading Aaron Rodgers. He's just been so good for so long. And then you go and you watch the tape, you look at the data, and you can see that he's not quite the same guy. He was always so perfect. Now, I'm not going to downgrade him so much, but I agree with you. His career is going one way, and Deshaun Watson is going the other. Aaron Rodgers has graded below 80 in 2 of the last 3 seasons, and I'm not so sure we could say that in the earlier part of his career. So he doesn't make our top 50, but he is still pretty good.
You know, it's crazy. He graded above Deshaun Watson last season, and I think it's so hard to say, yes, Deshaun Watson's younger. I see him going in a better direction. Then I look at some of the other guys that made the list, Hunter, Brandon Graham, and I know I have to take positional value out of it, but it's so hard to do. I think he is a top 50 NFL player, and here's why. Jordan Love comes to town. He's going to make him a top 50 player this year. The motivational factor, baby. That's what I'm going with. That league average ball location that we use our charting data on every single play to collect, I think that improves this year. Renewed sense of focus for Aaron.
So that means the Packers were right for taking Jordan Love.
A motivational point.
It was A.J. Dillon that was crazy.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.